Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching. Well, I'm on my way out to the unheated greenhouse to show you what's happening out there. Just thought I'd show you a couple of things on the way out. This is basically 3 clumps of daffodils. The recent heat is having an effect on them. Years ago, I don't know how many years ago, each one of those clumps was one daffodil and they just kept multiplying. So there's now 3 large clumps of them. They multiply down below, grow new bulbs, I guess. But a few years ago I stopped deadheading them. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but sort of right in there, there's a daffodil or 2 that are not part of the clump. And over here further there are some more as well. Those have grown from seed. By not deadheading them, just left them alone. And I read somewhere, or heard something somewhere in the quite recent past, that it takes 6 to 7 years for a daffodil grown from seed to bloom. So they are multiplying both by increasing their bulbs down below and by growing from seed. This plant is called Star of Bethlehem, and it's just a couple of little small pieces of it. It grows here in deep shade under a big apple tree. Doesn't seem to get any bigger, but that has been growing there for 30 years or more. Just blooms in the spring. Well, I was in a large supermarket the other day and I bought 10 bags. They're 70-liter bags of what they call mega soil. You see the word compliments above the name there. That's the in-store brand name for a large supermarket chain here in Canada called Sobeys. I was pleased with the price. They were $7.99 a piece, and I paid for them along with my groceries. Then went out to their garden center area, and I was loading them on the back of my truck. They are horribly heavy. The stuff inside has to be very wet. I don't know what they would weigh, but they weigh 60 or 70 pounds apiece, I would say. They're really quite heavy. I was looking at the receipt, and I could only see where I had paid for 8 of them. So there was a man out there, one of their employees, and he came over and asked if he could help me. And I said, well, would you look at this receipt first? And he didn't really want to. He said, no, I didn't come over to look at your receipt. You know, it was like he trusted me that I wasn't taking too many. And I said, no, it isn't that. I'm trying to figure out what I paid for. I could see where there was 8 listed at $7.99 a piece. And then below that, they weren't called mega soil anymore. There was 2 things called garden soil for $3.99 each. And he said he thinks it is a discount because you bought so many. So after you buy 8 of them at the regular price, the next 2 that I bought were half price. So I really saved more money than I thought I was going to save, I guess. And I've got them out here. I brought them out in my wheelbarrow 2 at a time, but they are very heavy. I will use them to grow my potatoes in containers. That's one thing for sure, but I will top up a lot of the beds outside here before I plant anything in them. I'll put a couple of bags in the top of the beds and sort of like adding compost to the beds. Well, these are the things that I started from seed in the unheated greenhouse, and most of it is coming along quite nicely. I'll pick up a few of them and get them closer to you. Those are sweet peas. That one's got all 6 in that 6-pack. Came up. They're slow coming up. There are still some packs that only have 2 or 3 instead of 6. I'm thinking that they eventually will come, maybe not all of them, but I put 2 or 3 seeds in each one of the cells and seem to be getting reasonable germination on them. This is Cosmos, and it is starting to grow its true leaves, so I'll be picking those out and putting them in individual pots soon, hopefully on a cooler day. I mentioned, I guess, that it's very hot. I didn't say how hot. This is the 12th of May here as I'm filming this. And it went to 26 degrees here this afternoon, 26 degrees Celsius. I just turned the air conditioning on in the house for the first time this season. And those are calendula. And some of those are starting to grow their true leaves as well. I don't know if you can pick anything out in this or not. It's a type of poppy called Shirley, a double poppy. And there was just a little bit of dust for the seeds. There's two there. And somewhere I was seeing a third one, but certainly not fantastic germination. But if those continue to grow, I'll be pleased. Anyway, I'll get to see what they look like. And up here, these are the zinnias called Magellan. They're sort of a pink zinnia. And the earlier ones that have come up have got their second set of leaves on them, so sometime in the next week those will be individually potted. And this is just a package of mixed colors of hollyhocks, and they were slow coming up, but now there's a few more every day, so there's probably a dozen or more there. That will be good. I was concerned that nothing was going to come in this. This was a free package of seed from Annapolis Seeds. They always give me a free package of seeds when I place an order. It's Chinese forget-me-not, and I guess I got the seeds a little close together. They're coming up in clumps, but at least some of them are coming up. They're taller than our regular forget-me-not, and larger, much larger flowers. I don't think they're perennial like our regular forget-me-not is, but time will tell there. I think they are. An angel has tore off barking at something. I think that they'll just be an annual. But this is the watermelon. Moon and stars. All three seeds I put in there come up. I will be thinning that down to one seed in the pot. And this is the other melon that I'm trying to grow. Prescott Fawn Blanc. It's a Canadian variety, I think, from around Montreal somewhere. I have numerous sunflowers started. Hopes that they will bloom at some day. That's a tall one. And then I have a short variety. And I've got good germination on all of them. The strange thing, all I did to thin them out, there was 2 or 3 seeds in each one. I selected one and just pulled the others out. Well, they came out with a lot of their roots. So I just took them out. There's 2 big planters, one other side of the door to the cabin, and I just took them out and stuck them in the soil, sticking my finger, making a hole, putting them in the soil. And wow, I don't think I lost a single one. They're all growing out there. I don't know if you can see this baby here or not. Remember me mentioning I ordered primula seed and foxglove seed from Amazon, and when it arrived, it had originated in China, and I thought, yeah, okay, don't get too excited about that, and so far I'm not. I don't see a single germination in there. Today I planted my winter squash, summer squash, and cucumbers, but they're sitting down below here on the edge of the bench, but they're not nothing up yet, of course. It just went in the ground today. This is the flat of wildflower seeds, it's called. And supposedly one that will attract bees and pollinators. And I don't know what any of it is for sure, but there's a number of these, if you can see them. I'm almost thinking that is a poppy. Years ago I grew California poppy, and I'm thinking that might be what that is, and what all the other little things are, I don't know. I'm going to be planting my eggplant out in the regular garden, not in the greenhouse here, and I plan to divide that flat up and plant it in the same bed with the eggplant to attract pollinators to keep my eggplant going. This came up on its own. The only thing I can think of is it looks like a squash. Interesting thing is, these beds were all new in here last year, and I didn't grow any squash in here. The bed that this came up in was cucumbers. That's far too large to be a cucumber. Especially the seed leaves are way larger than you would expect on a cucumber. But of course, I've got to let it keep growing till I figure out what it is. This is the daikon radish that I direct sowed into that bed, just 5 plants. Each daikon, if you haven't grown them, is a huge vegetable, so 5 will do for now. I may plant some more later on to have in the fall. And next to that is the kale, and it's coming along quite well too. Beyond the kale, I put in a bed with 5 different areas planted in lettuce. I can't remember the variety right now, if I can see it over there. Harrington, yeah, Harrington. I don't think I got a single germination. Now the seed are 2 or 3 years old, and they're pelletized. Pelletized is always slower coming up, but not this slow. Everything else is up and growing, and there's nothing there in that bed. I may plant a few more in 6-packs or whatever and see if I have any better luck. Well, I brought everything that was growing in the house under the lights out to the greenhouse today. I've never had a disaster after doing this. It's always the first time, I guess. I don't think I've ever brought them out in mid-May when it was this hot before. But if you can see some spun-bonded row cover over here, they will be covered over with that. I've put some bamboo canes, short bamboo canes in there to support the row cover. And that will stay on for at least a week. I'll check under it every day to make sure they don't need water or to be watered, whatever. Usually when I take that off, I wait until we get some cloudy weather, even a rainy day or whatever. It just makes it really good for taking that off because the sun isn't that bright. If you have a couple of cloudy days before you get bright sunshine again, it's really quite a help. The 2 flats way at the back are my tomatoes and 6 different kinds of chili peppers. The tomatoes are Roma and San Marzano. Roma and San Marzano. They're both an Italian paste tomato. San Marzano is indeterminate. Will grow 9 or 10 feet tall if you let it. And Roma is determinate. It's not supposed to require any spacing, but believe that when I see it. I've heard that story before. And right here, those are hollyhocks, eggplant, and the black-eyed Susans. I'll lift a couple of them out and show you what they look like. Hollyhocks are much larger than the ones that I'm just starting from seed in here, but it doesn't make any difference because they won't bloom this year anyway. According to some people, they're a biennial. According to other people, they are a perennial. This package said they were biennial, and the package of seeds that's just starting to come up over on the bench said that they were a perennial. So I don't know what they might be, but I know they don't bloom first year. These are the brown-eyed Susans, or black-eyed Susans, I guess. They're quite hardy, and in a few weeks' time, once they've hardened off in here a bit, I will start putting those out in the garden. We shouldn't have any more frost, but we will have chilly nights, and I don't think that would bother them, because they grow everywhere on the side of the road in some areas here, not where I live. I've always had difficulty with them. Maybe I'll have difficulty again this time. And these, the eggplant, I want to show you. It's got flowers coming on it. Tiny little things, got all kinds of blossoms. It's a Turkish eggplant, a round eggplant, not the long ones. And not terribly big, I don't think. I don't think I read anywhere where it said the actual size, but probably baseball size or something like that. And it did say that it is prolific, the number that it produces. Well, starting this young, I guess that must be part of it, all right. It's going to be a good producer. I don't know if I've showed you that or not. I can't see on the screen here, and I'm bouncing around, but at any rate, there, I think. It has lots of blossom buds, and several of them do. This last flat has the Chinese lanterns in. And they are a very sturdy plant. This particular pot of them, I just stopped. I didn't do any more thinning. I planted out 10 or 12 or something in individual pots, and just left this alone, and it's done very well. It's a very sturdy plant. So my plans are to probably knock that out and divide it at least into a quarter, into 4 different sections, and plant it somewhere in the garden. And here in my hand I also have one of the ones that I transplanted. And they're not as large as the ones that I just left in the pot. I guess transplanting them must have slowed them down a bit, but nevertheless, I don't know if they will bloom first year or not either. But it's practically invasive if you get it in the right place. And I've reached a point in life where I appreciate invasive. Anything that survives our winter and wants to grow is good with me. Well, that concludes this little update from the unheated greenhouse. Thank you very much for watching. I'll get my row cover up over the top of these plants, and hopefully they will survive the chilly nights and the hot days. Well, there they are, put to bed for the night. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see if I can get this uploaded onto YouTube.